Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
Okay, Peter, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Bill, what episode is this?
This is episode number 36.
Man, we're getting up there.
And the title of it is near and dear to your heart, Peter.
What is it?
$10,000 a month technique.
Oh, hell, I'm in.
My name is Bill the Dealmaker.
And I'm Pete the Rookie.
And we're going to talk about how to make $10,000 a month.
Oh, you got my attention. Oh, boy. Really?
What would you do with $10,000 a month, Peter?
Really?
Right.
I would pay all my bills, best I can, and invest the rest of it in making even more money.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you want to make more than $10,000?
Yes, because my goal now is not to be stuck in I can't have.
Oh?
Can't have.
Okay.
You know, when you want to do something, you want to buy something, I can't have that right now.
Right.
I hate can't have.
Okay.
Would you like to have a gas stove, honey? Yeah, me too, but, we can't have that right now.
Okay.
I don't like can't have.
Okay.
I want to get past that.
Okay.
Not must have. I just want to, if I want something, I want to get it.
So is this a therapy session? Because I can handle it right now.
But what do you think this whole thing is for?
Oh.
What do you think people do real estate for?
Peter, did you ask Can't Have what it thinks about you?
I'm not talking to you.
There you go. You're not talking to Can't Have. No wonder why you're having trouble.
You have to talk to it?
You have to confront it.
Oh, I have. That's Bill, what do you think I got here? That's how I got here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, just because of my age.
Peter's like 85 years old.
But I sound 58. No, I know I have... I sound young, and I am inside, but the outside,
mid-60s?
the crust is just getting older. Yeah, I'm in my 60s, and so is my wife. So we're collecting Social Security, but believe me, it's not enough to live on. And I led a very interesting life of freedom, and I was not carefree. I was very helpful, being nice to people and doing good things, but it didn't make me lots of money. Right. So it's time to just rack up a bunch of money for me. It's me time.
I have news for you.
Yes.
Social Security?
Yes.
Is a supplement income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not counting on it.
Good. It's a supplement. It means you have to have other income. You can't just rely on it.
My mother's living off of hers because she has no bills at all, and it's enough. She doesn't get to do a lot with it. She's not traveling and crazy blowing money, but she actually pays her bills with it reasonably well. But so I just needed to do more. So
basically what you're telling us is if you want to live on Social Security, don't do anything. Just eat, sleep, go to the bathroom, and that's it. No cars.
Yeah.
Have your house paid for, pay the taxes on the house, and pay the cable TV to watch TV.
Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe we're talking Roku here.
But, Roku.
I said to the wife over a year ago, I said, honey, if we don't do something smart, we're going to be living in that one room over the drugstore.
Right. Oh, boy. Hey, when I was a kid, we lived in a room over the Taylor.
Well, that's okay when you're a kid, but...
He taught me how to do a bunch of sewing and shit when I was about 7 years old, but I don't remember any of it, so there you go. Or wait a minute. Maybe I do remember. I don't want to remember it.
No, you don't want to sew.
Could you picture me doing a podcast on how to sew?
No, Bill. Not at all. You can call my wife on that. She used to make clothes. She has a sewing machine, and yeah.
I remember when I first asked my wife, why would you marry me anyways? I'm a crazy bastard. She goes, because you're a guy's guy. That was her answer.
You're a guy's guy.
You're a guy's guy.
But she's a girl.
I do guy things, and I like doing guy things. I like being a guy.
Oh.
Scotch, cigars, playing cards, rolling the dice, taking chances, making money, losing money.
Wild guy, then.
Wild guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've been wild in different directions. I'm going wild in this direction now. That's what's going on.
So let me just give you the concept of Planet Bill.
Okay.
Let me paint a big picture for you, okay? This is where I am in my head. The wild, wild west. That's my picture.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah. Big white horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rides into town, changes the rules.
No saddle.
No saddle. now you're half Indian.
Oh, let's not get into that. $10,000 a month technique. What the hell is a technique that could make you $10,000 a month, Pita?
I don't know. Tell me.
You ever been to the casino?
Yes.
How much do you put in the slot machine?
I $20.
$20.
$20.
If you were to put $20 in the slot machine and pull the lever down and make $10,000, what would you call it?
I'd call it buffet for a year.
$10,000?
Yeah, because my current strategy is put the 20 in. When it makes it to 40, stop. Go get lunch for you and the wife, and that's the end of the day. If it goes to 0, just go pay for the buffet.
All right.
I'm not looking for anything rich, but really, 10,000?
Remember when we first named the slot deal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Sandwich, lease, option,
Yeah.
transaction. That's
Yeah.
an acronym.
you did. Yeah.
The reason why I said I wanted to name it, which we never do, by the way, we
What?
named it for this reason, and we never do it. So we're doing it today. The slot deal was named after you could put $10 in a slot machine, pull the lever, and get $10,000.
So you pull the lever, cha-ching, and then
get
da-boom, da-boom,
$10,000.
da-boom, all that comes out.
So the reason why we say that is because you use $10 to sign an option agreement form
Yep.
with a seller, go find a buyer, and
Mm-hmm.
they give you $10,000.
Wait a minute. 10 gets you 10. But the second 10 is 1,000.
Just adds a few zeros.
Love the numbers.
Good.
Love the numbers.
All right. So something that you may not know because you may not have ever heard me say it before,
Mm-hmm.
because I just haven't talked about it.
Okay. Because I know how I'm doing 2 slot deals now. One's current, one dropped, and the other one's pending moving out and stuff.
Somewhere around 25% of this country has real estate that's over leveraged.
Ooh. No, I never got that number. 25 over leveraged.
Somewhere around 25% is over leveraged.
Mm.
What does over leverage mean?
They owe more than the equity of the house.
Okay. So you had to use that word.
Equity.
Yeah. So what does equity mean?
That's what you might get after you sell the house. But it's a moving number. It's not locked in stone. Because when somebody says your house is worth, well, yeah, sure.
Right.
Maybe. Let's see when you sell it. So when you sell it, whatever's left is your equity. But it's
So the definition of equity is what you can collect at the closing minus your equity. In other words,
minus your expenses.
whatever you sold the house for. So you might think a house is worth $200,000. Somebody gives you an offer of $190. You accept it. You owe $150. It's not $200 minus $150. It's $190 because that's what you collected.
That's whatever you get.
So it's $190 minus $150. You have a $40,000 equity spread.
Mm-hmm.
Over leverage means there is no equity.
Yeah.
Over leverage means you got a $190,000 house that you owe $200,000 for.
Yeah.
So
That's the one I'm working on.
over leverage means there's no equity. You have to make equity.
Mm-hmm.
That's the technique.
Oh,
is
yeah,
we
sure.
make equity.
You have to create it.
So we're going to create an equity machine.
Wow. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Is it transistor or tube?
No, it's digital. All right. So that's what we call a slot deal.
Yeah.
It's sandwich, lease, option, transaction. SLOT.
Like a slot machine.
Well, we call it a slot machine because you could put $10 in and everything comes out. So here's the interesting thing about slot deals that some people may not realize, and I thought I should talk about this. Do you think that we're in the house buying and selling business?
I should say no to that.
Good.
Nope. It
'Cause
looks like we are.
something I realized after we did our last show.
Oh, really? That recent?
Yeah. So think of this. 50% of our deals that we do out of the 7, we don't buy the house. So the reason why my system works so well is because I'm not teaching you how to buy real estate. Only half the time.
Mm.
What I'm teaching you to do is to control the real estate and not even buy it.
Yeah.
So if you can control the real estate and not own it, what does that mean for risk?
About zero.
You have no risk.
Yeah. I've got contract for three lease options. It doesn't scare me at all. I do the best I can to get buyers for them, lease people to lease them with the option. If I can't, isn't it like the realtor who doesn't sell your house? Oh, 6 months is up. Bye-bye.
Right.
They don't lose sleep over it.
Right. So the reason why all this is magical to people when I start talking about it, because I had to figure that out, what's magical about it, is because we're not buying houses. We're not buying houses at all. We're just controlling the property.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who said it. I remember reading it. Maybe it was Kiyosaki. Maybe it was, I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
Some of the richest people on the planet don't own the real estate. They just control it. Don't put anything in your name. These are fearful people. These are usually money people that are fearful. They're afraid they're going to lose their money.
Yeah.
Don't put any money, don't put any property in your name. Don't put anything in your name, but control everything.
Yeah.
Right? I don't remember who said it, but
So these are fearful control freaks.
Well, that's my opinion.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So basically, in a slot deal, what happens is, and I don't know if you've ever thought of it this way, but you're getting paid for assigning contracts.
Yeah, because you first get a contract with the seller, and then you find them a buyer, and you put them together, right?
Right.
So the contract winds up between the two of those.
Right.
You
So
start in the middle so you can
So let's
facilitate
explain
it.
what you just said. Let's explain what a slot deal is in case somebody doesn't know. They haven't been to one of our meetings or the other podcasts or anything like that.
Or senior 10 videos.
Yes, at flippinghouses.club. If you go to flippinghouses.club, you can find all this. There's 10 videos. There's 2.5 hours worth of content you get for free.
Right.
Okay? Which we're going to be changing pretty soon.
Well,
Yeah. I've been advised that it's too much information. So we're talking about changing it.
okay.
So go get it now while it's still there.
All right.
Anyways, so what happens is if you have someone that has a house that's worth $100,000, okay, and when I say worth, that means they brought it to the market, and that's all that it was. That's all they can get.
Right.
So they had offers of $100,000, and they owe $100,000. Okay. Now, one thing that most people don't understand is when you sell a house, there's expenses. Right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there's things like, first of all, the realtor fee, which is 6%. Now, some people say they can get it for less money, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear that because if you're going to list something, if you're that damn cheap, don't talk to me. The reason why is because here's what happens. If you think you can get it for 4% or 5%, go knock your socks off. Go have fun, whatever. Bottom line is if I got a realtor that has two pieces of property that they can show an agent, and one's got a 2.5% co-broke fee and another one's got 3% co-broke fee, which one are they going to show? So, yeah, you save 0.5% or you save 1% on your realtor commission, but you paid it in holding costs, you dumbass. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
Just pay the 6%.
And it's not two houses. You might have 20 or 40 or 50.
Stop being cheap.
Yeah.
Because the true value is the marketing. What you're paying a realtor for is to market your house. What you're paying a realtor for, the 6%, is to go find me a buyer and bring them to me so we can talk. That's what you're paying for a realtor. You're not paying a realtor to do all your paperwork, to get you through the closing, to do any of that. Now, there are some realtors that are very good at that, but most are not. So you're paying 6% for them to market your house and bring you a buyer.
Sure.
That's what you're paying.
Sure.
If you were to sell a house for sale by owner, then you got to still pay that 5 or 6%. Because you got to get buyers to come to you. And how are you going to do that? You got to have marketing.
Yeah, I don't think people even know how to do that. They'll list it for free on a website or two, and they think that's going to do it.
88% of for sale by owners end up listing before they're all done.
Yee.
88%. Okay? And that number's up. Used to be 86 or 87%, and it's up.
Yeah, I thought it was different. It's actually you actually tested. It's different.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually
Getting worse.
Okay. So when you're closing on a property, you got at least 6% for marketing or for realtor, one or the other. You got at least 3% for closing costs. I mean, in Connecticut, there's some 1% conveyance tax. And then you got the lawyer, and then you got, what about the tax roll around? Like in Connecticut, there's cities that pay taxes in front. So like we bought a house in October. She already paid her taxes in July. So
Yeah.
now we owe her from October 3rd all the way to December 31st. We had to pay her that money.
That's right. It's paid up front.
How much is that? Right? For
Yeah.
us, it was a couple $1,000
That's right.
or $1,500, $1,800. I don't remember what it was, but we had to pay it.
Yeah, about 15, 18. I'm in town, so it's about same level. Yeah.
Right. So we're already at 9%, 6%, and 3%. And then you got deferred maintenance, and then you got you got other costs in there. I mean, there's just stuff that it adds up. It's. I mean, we have a whole system to show you this, but it's. Let's say it's 10%, just for argument's sakes.
Sure.
Okay, so the guy owes $100,000. He goes to list it with a realtor. He's got to come to the table with $10,000. Right.
Yeah.
So it's either comes out of his pocket or it doesn't. So if we come along and say we'll give you $100,000, it doesn't cost you all that, and we're not going to charge you any fees, what is he going to say?
First, you didn't say how.
Yeah.
Then we explain it to him, and we're the best option in town.
Right. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about the 5 reasons why they would, or at least 4 reasons why we have what their choices are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the 4 choices that they have. Okay, but the point is at this moment that he can't sell it the way it is without coming out of his pocket. So the language we say to him is, well, what if I were to give you a deferred cash out? Would you be interested in that? And he says, well, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then let me explain. And you explain a slot deal, which is, I'm going to go find a buyer. Well, first of all, I tell them that 81% of this country right now is not mortgageable. That's true. So I'm going to go find one of those buyers, because right now what you've been doing is if you list it with a realtor, they're going after the 21 or the 29%.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
21%.
21%. 81.
No, 29. Yeah.
29. Yeah.
No, 19.
19%.
19%. There it is.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Duh.
Yeah.
I'm the deal maker. So
You get on the big numbers.
yeah, no, I usually have that. I just blanked out for some reason. So do you want to go after the 81% of the population, or you want to go after the 19% of the population? Which one do you want?
Well, 81's bigger than 19.
Right. So,
and for this situation, that's who it is.
Right.
It's just fortunate for people like that who get stuck that there's the other people who are stuck on the other end.
Right. So if I bring it to the 19%, they're using cash. Right now, you brought this point up many months ago. If I sell you my computer today for $1,000 and you pay me $1,000 in cash, how much would you pay for the computer?
Sounds like 1,000.
Good. If you put it on your credit card and made payments over the next 24 months, how much did you pay for the computer?
11, 12.
Yeah, not $1,000. Right.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm going to sell your house. Right. I'm going to sell it on terms.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a person in your house that will lease it for me, and I'm going to get them qualified for a mortgage. Except they're not going to lease it from me; they're going to lease it from you. So I'm going to sell it to them for $110,000. They're going to give me a $10,000 deposit towards their option, which is non-refundable. I don't have to be licensed to do this, and they're going to end up owing you to the $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
When they get a favorable mortgage, which I will help them with, then they'll pay off the house.
And why is it legal that you can do this if you're not a realtor?
Because you're buying when I give you the $10 in the slot machine that I was talking about for the option, the buyer's option agreement.
Yeah.
I'm actually buying equity, an equity share in your property.
So you own one of the bricks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I own an equity share, the law doesn't say any percentage, but because I own an equity share,
Part owner.
that I could make those decisions. So I can take a non-refundable deposit. It's not a renter's deposit. It's not something I have to hold in escrow because I'm not renting. I'm selling you the property, becoming the bank.
Yeah.
Okay?
And people pay for the option.
They
They're
pay
buying
for the
an
option.
Okay.
So when I'm selling the house to my buyer, he's going to lease from you. That's a very stringent lease with no maintenance, no repairs, because he owns the house.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's planning on buying it.
He owns the house because he has an option, which is an equity share. He owns the house.
And no one else can buy it as long as he has that option. He exercises it.
Right.
Okay.
So
and
he
gets to
owns
fix
the
the
house.
toilet.
So the person that is selling the house doesn't have to become a landlord.
Yeah, that's one of the people's big complaints. Oh, I don't want to rent it because they
Right.
have to mow the lawn, take care of things. And it's like you're babysitting a family.
Right.
And of course, the family, if they're just renting, How much do they care about your house?
Exactly.
They don't take care of it. But it's totally different if they're going to buy the house. That this is my house. Don't scuff the floor.
Right.
Hey, don't hit. Be careful over there.
Exactly.
That needs painting.
And they cut
take
the
care of it.
grass and they plow the snow and all that kind of. They take responsibility
Yep.
for the house.
Yep. It's their baby.
So now, I make $10,000. Now, if 25% of this country is over leveraged, you're going to tell me you can't find one of these deals?
Yeah.
I think we talked about in the last show in the 6 tricks that guarantee success while flipping houses, episode 35.
Yep.
We talked about one of the marketing ideas is just get an expired listing from your realtor and start mailing to them. Now, this is a little bit of a trick because I tell you to do that. I make it sound so easy. And I'm gonna add to my bag of tricks. When you get a list from a realtor on the properties that are expired,
Now,
they have the property address but not the names of the people that own them.
they just why? I mean, they had the name if they were selling the house for them, right?
Yeah.
They just
So
take it
some
out.
realtors will give it to. Well, it's just the way the search is done. Some realtors will give it to you and some won't. So you should try to get the name.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can't get the name, here's what you do. You go to the town hall and you get the grand list or the tax roll, depending on where you are.
Yeah, it's just different names, right?
It's the same list. It's just a different nomenclature, different language.
Yeah, that's the list of everybody who lives in town, and they pay the tax. Name, address. Okay.
So just type in that address and find out who the owner is. In the Excel spreadsheet, just go look for it. Just type in, do a search for that name or that property address,
Yeah.
and it'll give you the name.
Okay.
Okay. Or you can send it to, reverse lookup places. And you can do that too. That's a little bit harder to do, but you could do it that way. But the easiest way to do is go get the grand list or the tax roll from the town hall. It's usually on an Excel spreadsheet. Or download, or they'll email it to you, and just do a search.
Which you should have anyways.
Right.
If you're sending out yellow letters, you should have it.
Exactly. So, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you match the names to the address. Okay. So, there's no reason not to find these people. So if somebody has an expired listing, more than likely they have one of a couple problems. One, you're over leveraged.
Yeah.
Okay. Two, maybe the house needs repairs and you can't afford it, or don't want to do the repairs.
So if a house is like in bad shape, a realtor has a hard time selling it, doesn't he?
Right. Right.
Because it's just, well, if it's outdated for customers, that's one thing.
Right.
If it's livable, it's legal.
Right.
Okay.
Or maybe when they went to have their inspections for whatever mortgage stuff, it didn't pass the inspections and the person doesn't want to fix the stuff.
Yeah.
In any event, those are all situations he didn't have before that you can now help him with. He wasn't cognizant of those or aware of those prior to his closing.
Yeah.
And then the deal fell through, and now he doesn't know what to do, and he's pissed off. He hates the realtor. He hates the lawyer. He hates real estate. He hates. Well, you can help him with all that.
Huh.
So why not speak to that guy? Right?
Sure.
So there's these deals are out there. Okay? So the other thing that you could do is you could go to for sale by owners, because most for sale by owners don't want to pay the realtor fee.
Sure.
So if you advertise, I could help you sell your house, because you're not buying the house, you're assigning the contract.
Right.
Right. So basically, how it works is, I buy a house from you on an option agreement, okay, on a lease option. I sign an option agreement with you. I'm going to buy your house for $100,000, and I'm going to bring your house to the market and sell it. Okay. First thing is that I'm going to tell you I need 3 months to find my buyer. So is that horrible?
No, because he's already rated 6 to sell the house.
So what did the realtor tell him? Realtor says they want 6 months. I'm telling him I'll get 3 months.
Yeah, and his choice right now, if he's already done the 6, is 6 more that didn't work, or 3 months that might work.
Right. Okay. Because the realtor is telling them you got to wait 6 months. Okay. So I say to them, okay, so I need 3 months to go find my buyer. Okay.
Right.
So when I bring the buyer back, what does that mean? We got a deal.
Yeah.
Doesn't always take 3 months, though, does it? Okay. Now, a bit of caution here, because this is difficult to do if somebody's living in the house.
Yep.
Can be done.
You mean you drive to this house, tell the people to go to McDonald's,
Right.
and you show the house while they're not in it. But it doesn't. You can't automate it and just have people go in and out.
Like we normally do, yeah.
Yeah, there's expensive things in the house.
But the point that I was making about the for sale by owners is that they have a reason for not wanting to pay the fees. Most of the time, it's because they're over leveraged and they can't afford to do that. So let's go into that. What are some of the reasons why somebody would want to do a slot deal?
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is obviously they can't sell it because there's no equity.
Right.
Okay, that's the big thing. So what are their choices? That's what I'm trying to say. What are their choices?
Well, let's see. They could stay in the house.
Yeah, they can live in the house.
They could rent it.
Yeah, hang on. So they can live in the house and wait till the equity returns to a point where they can sell the house and not put money out of their pocket.
Right.
Right.
That could be a while.
Right. They could walk away, let it go into foreclosure. Right. And then, 2009 or 10, over 5 million people did that.
Yeah.
Right. Because what was happening in the late 2008, 7, 8, 9, if you could fog a mirror, you got a mortgage.
Yeah.
But they were all over leveraged. There was no equity. They bought money. They bought the houses with no money.
Yeah.
Right, which is the risk of FHA mortgages and 3% down and all that is that they don't have any money when they get in trouble. Okay, so you can walk away, and that's a solution. It's a bad solution, and most don't want to do it, but some, when get under pressure, will do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked to someone last year.
Right.
They decided, the realtor convinced them to do a short sale. And I don't think they understood what that actually meant.
And that was the third thing I was going to say, is you can give it to a realtor and do a short sale.
Oh. Hey, I guessed good.
Yeah. So a short sale is nothing more than, okay, so you owe $100,000. They can show that there is some
Is there a hardship involved?
Yeah, I was going to say catastrophe, but hardship is a better word. So you have to give evidence that there is a legitimate reason why the bank should take less money.
Oh, some problem that we really can't pay. We're not trying to be.
Yeah, either the situation with the owner, or often there's a situation with the house. Like there's a cracked foundation, and every other day there's 2 feet of water in the basement.
Oh.
I've seen places where a power company puts wires over the house or over the yard, or there's all kinds of different things that happen. Somebody builds a factory next door.
Huh.
I've seen some strange
And that
things.
crashes the property value.
Yeah.
Phew.
So the value of the property just goes plummeting. Oh, excuse me.
Doesn't the power company or the factory, or if they do something that aren't they liable to give you money for
Nope.
that?
Nope.
What?
They own a piece of property, and if it goes through zoning, then they're allowed to do that.
Well, wouldn't zoning? I mean, isn't that why people go to those zoning meetings and argue and scream and yell back and forth?
Exactly.
But if they win, it's covered. If they lose, it's not covered. It's wow. That seems so unfair.
Or it could be 2 blocks away, or there could be. I mean, the one time I saw that there was a school that got shut down.
A what?
A school.
School.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
It was a good school, and it just the city just decided that they're going to close a few schools, and they closed the school.
Yeah, that loses the value then.
Now all of a sudden the neighborhood's not as valuable because the school's gone.
Right.
Now the school to be in is across town.
Yep.
I mean, there's all sorts of reasons. Put a new road in, put a new highway in. You know, that's another one. It could be, you can have a neighborhood that's really good, and all of a sudden the highway comes through the middle of that section of town, and it goes all commercial. You know what I mean? I mean, there's multiple reasons. The point is that when you have those reasons, a short sale is legitimate.
Right.
Often it's not, but you could hire a realtor to do a short sale for you, right, and go through that process. And that process is very long, and you could stay in the house if you wanted to, and not pay your mortgage. And sometimes they move quick. Sometimes, I know a guy that's been in a house for 7 years, $1 million house, been in a house for 7 years and has not paid his mortgage.
How do you get away with that?
In his particular case, he was coached by me. Believe it or not, I did it by accident. Didn't realize I was doing it because I don't do that kind of stuff usually, but. He actually had a faulty mortgage. The documents that he originally signed were incorrect, and then the mortgage got sold 2 or 3 times and lost.
Got lost?
They lost them. They didn't have the original documents, so he filed. I put him with a lawyer that I knew, which I will never do that again, but I put him with a lawyer I knew, and I think he paid like $3 or $4 grand, and that lawyer actually got him the house free and clear. They settled with the bank. They're trying to settle with the bank. I don't know if they have. I haven't talked to them in a year. But they were pressing the bank with, well, you want us to pay the mortgage, then show us the documents. And they couldn't. So they couldn't. And here's the interesting thing, and this is something I probably shouldn't say on a public radio, but the normal proceeding of a foreclosure is it starts at about 3 months. Usually by month 4, they're in litigation.
Of not paying the mortgage loan.
Right. So if you haven't paid in 3 months, and if by month 4 you haven't gotten legal documentation saying you are in foreclosure, something's wrong. If it's by month 6, definitely something's wrong. The reason why is because when you have equity in a piece of property, and the property is titled in your name, and it was used for collateral, the person that gave you the loan cannot steal your equity from you. It's called equity stripping. So if I own a house that's worth $150,000, I only owe $120,000, and you're the bank, you can't just say, you stop paying me, I'm taking the house back. You have to sue me for the title to get it back. That's called a foreclosure.
And imagine you need the documents in court.
Right. So if you don't have the mortgage documents to provide to the attorney to say, here's why I'm suing him, because he's in default of this agreement, they can't sue you.
Yeah, where's your agreement? That's funny.
Unfortunately, banks are scumbags. Okay? And you've heard me say that a lot of times. Banks are scumbags because they want their money. And they will go to the nth degree to do nasty, dirty tricks to scare you to think that they're taking the house, but never really do the legal process. So because people are not adverse to the laws and the way things are, they get away with it very often. Okay?
That's where the lawyers come in.
Yeah. So in this particular case, because of my knowledge of going through this before, I kind of coached my buddy through it and said, well, ask him this and ask him that. What about this and what about that? And he took it to the nth degree. And I don't agree that he should be in a house for 7 years or 8 years without paying a mortgage. He should do something. I mean, he got a house. He should pay something for it.
Yep.
But anyways. So that long dissertation came down to that you can hire a realtor to actually do a short sale. Right? And then the fourth way that they can handle this is, like you said before, just rent it. Okay. Now the problem with renting is it's just enormous grief to the seller, because what they want to do is they want to end this chapter of their life and they want to move on to the new house.
Sure.
Right. So how do you do that?
Well, you can't get your finger off it if you have to make sure somebody mows it and somebody, things don't break all the time, but you have to mow the lawn every week. If it snows, you got to get it shoveled. So you're going to have your finger stuck on that property.
Right.
It's probably not a huge annoyance, but some people just feel it's a huge annoyance.
Right. Well, you're ultimately responsible, and the fear, the actual fear is 11 o'clock on a Friday night or 6 o'clock on Thursday afternoon when you're going to have dinner with your wife. You're going to get the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in other words, you're going to get a phone call from the tenant at the most inopportune time, or you're on vacation, or that's the fear.
Sure.
That you're going to get the phone call, or you're going to spend money you don't have. Right? Like you're going to have to call a plumber and spend $200 to unplug the toilet or whatever the number is.
Sure.
Right? So the bottom line is you don't want that hassle. You don't want that responsibility. Right? So that brings us to the fifth choice that you have, which is us.
Mm.
So the reason why we're different is because our lease option is just like I said before. We're not renting per se, although it is a rent to own. But that's why we use the word lease, because we're leasing with an option to buy. And in the lease, in my lease, it says that your repairs and maintenance is all up to you. And like the scenario I gave to you before, I mean, it's just very simple. Anybody out there that has a mortgage, do you have a mortgage on your house?
Not anymore.
Okay, but you had a mortgage, right?
Sure.
So when you had a mortgage, if you had a broken toilet, did you call the mortgage company up and say, come fix it?
Yeah, but they never picked up.
So that's how
Sure.
you're treating this lease option is that they're not going to call you because you own the house. You're giving that 81% of that population the opportunity to own a house, and you're mortgaging them. Because we advertise this property as no bank qualifying.
Right.
Why did we advertise the property as no bank qualifying?
Well, they don't go through a bank to buy it. Not
They
yet.
go through us.
Right.
Let's go back to the beginning of the show. Who's controlling this piece of property?
But the professional home buyer.
I am,
Yeah.
or you are,
Yeah.
right? So who makes the decision on whether you can come into that property and rent or not?
You and I.
Not the bank. Even like on a subject to piece of property where there's an underlying mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Who makes the decision on whether they come into the property or not?
Well, not the bank, but do you also confer with the owner?
What a slot deal we do,
Yeah.
but it's not the bank.
No.
The point is that you don't have to go get qualified
Yeah.
at a bank.
Yeah.
Right? So the magic of what we do, Peter, is we hunt out and seek out and develop terms on a piece of property. In other words, when we're making an offer with someone, what we do is we get them on the same page with us. We get the seller on the same page with us with our paperwork, and we go through a cost of sale with them, so that so they can see how much it's going to cost them to sell their house.
Yeah.
Right? So once because what happens is, let's just do a live deal. Let me explain it this way. So you got a $200,000 house.
Right.
Do a cost of sale, and you find out it's going to cost you $63,000 to sell it.
63. Well.
But if you go through the form, that's pretty common, because
Yeah.
if you do the percentages, I mean, just 10% is $20,000,
Yep.
right? 15% is how much? That's $30,000.
30 grand. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say it's 15%. Let's say it's $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's without deferred maintenance or anything like that. I mean, the way you're going to get $200,000 for the house is to make sure it is up to snuff. That
Yeah,
means the
'cause
roof has to be done, and the furnace has to be running, and the house has to be no dirty rugs. I mean, it has to be up to snuff.
Yeah, because when you do a comp, it's like an average house in a neighborhood, which
Right.
is in decent shape.
Right. Okay. Now, if you have a decent house, it's a different story. But the point is that when you do the presentation correctly, which we do, okay, you're not making an offer on the house. So when I make offers, I'm not making offers on the house. I'm making offers on the equity. How are you going to get your equity paid? So let's say on this $200,000 house, we come down and we find out it's going to cost him $30,000 to sell.
Right.
So now he's down to $170.
Mm-hmm.
He owes $150.
Yeah.
So we got a $20,000 equity spread.
And that's the bottom line, isn't it?
So I ask the question very often in the beginning of earlier podcasts. One of the questions is, if I were to wave a magic wand over the top of your deal, and you can come out with something, what were you expecting?
Mm.
Or another question is, if you when you decided to sell your house, what were you expecting to walk away with at closing?
Yep.
So instead of that being an arbitrary number, like they're guessing, we actually sit down and consult them and go through what is it going to cost you to sell your house. Right? We have a procedure to do that.
That's right. All the steps, which really happen at closing, which they find out maybe 3 days ahead
Of the closing.
which is a little
After
too late to
working
change your
on it for
mind
2
and all
months,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So the point is this. You're negotiating the only part of the deal that he's in control of. If he owes $150,000 at the bank, right?
Yeah.
Unless you short sale it, you're not in control of that $150,000. You just got to pay it.
Oh, yeah. That number doesn't change.
Okay? The closing cost number, you still have to pay your conveyance tax. You still have to pay your marketing fees. You still have to pay. Right?
Yeah.
So the only number that he's in total control over when he's selling his house is the equity. That's the only thing that he could make a decision on. So if you're going to make offers to someone, wouldn't it make sense that you make an offer to something that they can control?
Of course. And that's really the bottom line.
They can say yes or no.
Yeah.
Or more importantly, are you willing to take your $20,000 over time? Can I pay it to you so much a month for the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Can I pay it to you, so much a year in lump sums? Can I just put, which I did very, very, very many times, I'd have that exact deal that we're talking about on a subject to deal, and I'd have 10 or 20 grand worth of equity, and I'd ask them if they would just take a note in second position. No interest, no principal. No interest, no payments. And they would say yes. So I'd buy the house for 170, we'll say. Okay? If it's subject to, it'd be 160 because it's 80%. Right? But I buy the house, we'll say, for 170. Right? They owe 150. They got $20,000 worth of equity. I just write a note, put it in second position, and I attach it to the title.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I sell the house down the road, they get paid their $20,000. Did I need any money? No.
Not always.
What do you mean, not always?
Well, if
I just said if I had a note for 150,000 and he wants 170, and I write a note, did I need any money?
Oh, you need no. I thought you meant did he need any money?
Oh yeah, no, we don't. No. We don't need any money.
No.
Right. So I just bought a house with no money down.
Mm-hmm. By solving this problem.
Yeah, I take over the mortgage payments and it's done. Right. So, we get way off track there. Way off track. We're talking about slot deals, not subject to. Come on, Peter, keep me going here. Yell at me. All right. So, basically, when we're doing a slot deal, what we're doing is choking on ourselves. We're not buying the property.
No, not on a slot deal.
We're getting a contract, an option agreement with you saying that you will sell us the house for $200,000 and pay your mortgage. Say your payment is $1,300 a month, so we're going to pay $200,000 and we're going to pay you $1,300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to allow me to do that. You're going to allow me 90 days to go to the market and find a buyer.
Right.
Good. Now I go find a buyer. Right. Buyer says they'll pay $210,000.
That's right.
Right, and they'll pay the $1,300 a month.
And you ask, why would he pay more when he couldn't sell for $200,000?
Because he's one of the 81% that can't get a mortgage, and he's just glad to get a house.
So he'll pay a little extra.
Right.
Everything's flexible.
Yeah. Plus, he's getting terms. Remember we talked about the credit card thing?
Yeah.
He's getting time. He's getting 2 years to work this out.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, he'll just pay more because he's getting terms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, technically what happens is I actually assign my option agreement to him.
To the buyer.
The new buyer.
Right.
So you gave me an option agreement.
Mm-hmm. I'm the seller, you're the professional.
And I assigned my option agreement to you, the new buyer.
Yep.
Okay, so why is this important?
Because you're not buying the house, you're just controlling it.
That's right.
And then, there's no equity in the house. There's no there's no cash flow because the equity is so high.
Yeah.
or that the leverage is so high. There's no cash flow, so there's no reason for you to stay in the deal.
Right. So there it is. There's no reason for me to stay in the deal. So how do I do that? How do I do that on paper? Now pay attention to what I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
This is very, very important. I never talk about this. I never, ever, ever talk about this because it could get a little, I don't want to confuse people, but it's exactly what happened. So I'm going to talk about it today.
Okay.
So if I have you, the seller,
Mm-hmm.
and John, the buyer, okay, if I draw up documents with your name on them and have you sign the documents, and then I bring them to John and have him sign the documents, what happens if John says, I want to show it to my lawyer? Now you have signed documents that he's walking away with, that he could actually go over to you and say, let's cut Bill out. I won't give him the 10 grand.
Yeah.
Right?
That would never happen in real life, though, would it, Bill?
Oh, why do you think I'm talking about this?
I mean, people would be that low?
I had a house in Southington. That's the first time it happened to me. I had bought the house subject to, or no, on a lease option, I'm sorry, and I had actually controlled the house for over 2 years. Over 2 years.
You didn't have the buyer sign papers with the seller at the beginning of the 2 years?
Nope. No, because what happened was I actually had the property. The market changed, and I was going back to the owner, and I was like, I got to release the property.
Mm.
I don't remember the exact details because it was.
But you were holding it. You're getting a little cash flow.
The point is I had already had the property for a couple of years.
Okay.
You got to realize, Pete, that not all my deals are the way I explain them. You want to know why? Because I had to screw up those deals to get the system that I have now. So not all the deal I have not all my deals are not the way I explain them to you now because I had to learn my lessons. So I made mistakes.
Yeah.
In those deals. So not all of them are the way, that
we're getting the nice neat version at the end.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So there was,
huh?
I didn't have a formula that if I did a lease option, I had to have 15% equity. I didn't have a formula then. So I don't remember what happened. I have to pull the deal jacket, but I don't remember what happened. But I know that I know this was one of the mistakes I had to make.
Yeah.
Before I realized I can't do that no more.
So after 2 years, then you went to the buyer and the seller.
I made the mistake of having the seller, who was here in Connecticut, sign the contract, and I shipped it. I FedExed it to the owner in Texas. And then I didn't hear from nobody.
Wait a minute. Who signed it first?
The buyer.
The buyer signs it first.
This is a dumbass move.
Right, because if the seller signed it first, then you can get the buyer to sign it and take the paperwork with you. Don't leave it with them.
Right. That's the
point. Because if he hangs on to it, then they don't need you anymore.
Right.
Probably.
So I took the buyer's documents that were signed, sent them to the seller, and all he needed to do was sell them. And he called the guy up and said, "What do we need to have this guy in the middle for? Why don't you and I do a deal?"
Yeah.
And then he got real critical on me. He started accusing me of not paying him on time, and because we paid him on the 5th of the month. Every month we paid him on the 5th of the month. His contract said the 1st.
Well, they had to come up with some excuse.
Right. They had to justify why they were
Jeez.
being mean to me. They had transgressed against me, and they had to justify it. Right.
So the right sequence is have the seller sign it, or is this whoever?
No, this is my point. This is my realization here.
Yeah.
Why put yourself in that position?
So who signs first then?
No.
What?
No.
How do you do it right away?
I sign an option agreement with you, right?
Yeah.
And I assign my option agreement to the buyer.
Just to sign it. Okay.
Just to sign it.
Okay.
Why do I have to have you sign, him sign? We don't have to do none of that stuff.
I got it.
And that's what my point is I'm assigning the contract. That's how we do the slot deals. Mm-hmm. It's just an assignment of the contract. So I sign a lease option with you, and I have a document that signs and says John is now in charge of this document.
Just transferring it to him.
Just transfer it to him.
Okay. And all the
other bullshit, all that stuff that took me, I'm telling you, it took me, I can't tell you how many years, how many deals. I mean, that one deal you're talking about, I think it was like a $18,000 deal. Or $12,000. It was a significant amount of money. Poof!
Yeah,
gone. like I didn't even get the pleasure of watching it burn in front of my eyes and see the ashes. It was just poof, disappear, abracadabra, gone.
Did you find out right away, or did you not
2
know?
weeks. They stopped communicating with me for 2 weeks.
It just disappears. No, okay, they just disappear on you.
Disappeared.
How'd you find out?
I don't remember. I finally got it. I think what I did is I called from somebody else's phone or something. He picked up the phone number.
And you got him to fess up?
Yep.
Wow. Did he say, gee, I'm sorry?
Nope. He yelled and screamed at me like I was a scumbag. Now you have to realize what I did for these people. I bought this house at Christmas and at Thanksgiving. She was pregnant, like I think almost 9 months pregnant. December was her 9th month.
Yeah.
And she was completely, totally distraught. She wanted to be home with her mother and her family. She was from Texas to have that baby.
Oh, sure. Motivated.
Okay? And he had a job that was transferable in Texas that was actually going to pay him more money.
And
So-
he can't sell the house.
It happened in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. All this happened so fast, it's not enough time to sell the house.
Yeah.
So I allowed them to move out of their house and go do what they wanted to do. I mean, I made them a sweet deal. I paid too much for the house. I mean, I like did things I didn't normally do because I was trying to help her.
No good deed.
And they screwed me in the end. I know for a fact if I ever, and I don't remember what she looks like, but if I ever talk to her now, I'll guarantee you she would weep. Because of what I did for her. I made her life possible.
Yeah.
And he scumbagged me out at the end.
She's probably not with him anymore.
I hope so.
He's a scumbag.
I hope so. Because he
If you're listening.
that was a bad thing. Right? So, I'm going to lease your house for the balance of what you owe and the payments that you pay.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm going to transfer my ownership to somebody else. Now it's nice and neat. Now it's not you sign first, I sign. This is kind of like, I don't even know how to give you a good analogy here. Like the ransom money. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. The ransom exchange.
Yeah, in the dark alley, like,
Yeah.
give me the kid. No, give me the money. All right? Who goes first? You know what I mean?
Okay, you
And
walk 6 feet forward.
Yeah, and the guys in the background with the guns. You know what I mean? Just in
yeah.
case somebody doesn't.
They always have 3 guns. They tell you not to come with guns. What's with that?
Yeah.
If you're bringing guns, I'm bringing guns. No guns
Right.
either side.
So that's what it's like.
Yeah.
Takes all that away.
Wow.
Takes all that away. Us signing the contract, and it took me a long time to figure that out. All right.
So, Bill, I'm glad I waited till you knew what you were doing.
You don't have to make all the mistakes, right? So
I don't think I can afford those kind of mistakes.
all right. So we have about 10 more minutes left here. So I wanted to go. So does that make sense?
Oh, sure.
So do you believe that this is a $10,000 a month technique?
Oh, yeah. I'm in the middle of 2 of them now.
Right. So if you were to send some marketing out and people that call you that had 20 that are over leveraged, and I'm telling you 25% of the country is, okay. If they were to call you, right, and you were to say, I can buy your house, how hard would that be for you?
That part's easy. Just go find a buyer.
Okay.
And I've done some of that, and people call.
Right.
It's not like it's not crickets.
Right.
People call.
So, I mean, you could put an ad in the newspaper. Owe too much on your house?
I was thinking of that.
Want to sell?
I was thinking of that.
I'll pay it.
Yeah.
Could be just that simple. Craigslist.
I was thinking of waiting till the ground unfroze a little, though.
Oh, put signs out?
Yeah, because when you sell the house, you got to put signs up. House for sale, no bank qualifying. You told me last in September, Pete, when it gets cold out, it's hard to get them in the ground. I was having a hard time in the summer getting them in the ground because we had a drought. The ground was like a rock.
I know.
I couldn't get the signs in the ground. I had to do it with my hands. Like, you couldn't step on this. Yeah. Anyways, I was thinking of that. How to get lease options if there's people like that. That's the ad.
Right. So let's go over some common questions, and then we'll get out of here, okay?
Okay. Hey, maybe for once we'll be under an hour just to make up the difference.
No.
We're going to
Because
give
we're
you...
at 53 minutes right now.
Okay.
How do I get paid? That's a
get-
common question.
Yeah.
How do I get paid? So
How do you get paid, Bill?
I get paid because I get the deposit money, the difference between what you're asking for a deposit and what I get for a deposit.
Because sometimes you can give the seller a little bit of money if they need. A couple grand.
So, like in
moving
your
money.
particular case, like we were talking about $10,000. So instead of asking $210,000, maybe we ask $213,000 or $214,000, and we give the owner $2 or $3 grand in case there's default on their payment. They have some recourse.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a conscious thing. Like, do you have a conscience?
Yeah.
Right.
That's it's a nice thing to do.
Good. So does that make sense? So you get the difference between what you promise for a deposit and what you collect for a deposit.
Right. And even though the guy might have trouble selling the house at his price, we can sell it for more because the banks aren't involved, and the person buying it is in a situation where he's willing to pay a little more because he's in trouble.
Right.
He can't get a mortgage, so he'll pay a little more.
So let's talk about Bill the dumbass, because I tell you all the time I'm a dumbass. You know, and it's not a derogatory statement. It is not a derogatory statement. Some people, it's just I went to high school and that's it.
Yep.
I didn't go to college. Everything I learned is by just being a dumbass.
Hey, I went to college and I went to 1-year business school. You know what I learned? It makes a difference what color you paint the men's room and the ladies' room. That's all I learned. It wasn't that good.
Okay.
You didn't miss anything.
If we had time, I'd ask you what color, but we're not going to do that.
They're pastels,
Okay.
you know.
So here's the dumbass Bill talking right now. Imagine this. Imagine instead of buying $150,000, $200,000 houses where you're getting 10%, you know, you're getting 10,000. What would it be like if you were in a neighborhood like the guys out in Sydney, Marco and his buddies out there?
Australia.
Right, which I talked to not too long ago.
They're listeners.
They got $1.2 million houses there.
They're just really expensive in Australia.
Right. So what would happen if you were to do one of those houses and they need 10% down? That's $102,000. Let's say you were to do it for what, $50,000?
Yeah. 5%. Sure.
So you get one of these slot deals and you collect $50,000.
Bill, I'm going to place those ads as soon as I get close to the ground unfreezing.
Right?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you start, so Ron LeGrand is famous for this. This is where I got it. Ron LeGrand, right? The more money you waller in, the more you make. That's a Ron LeGrand statement.
Oh, hell yeah.
The more money you waller in, the more you make.
Yeah.
So, if you live in those neighborhoods, now we don't live in those neighborhoods, so selling $1 million house here is like, unless we go down to Fairfield or something like that, which we don't do.
Oh, I got some in my neighborhood. $500,000 up. I got a couple.
So if you do slot deals on those deals, you just make more money.
Yeah.
So I mean, how many of those puppies do you need before you're replacing your
And
income?
it's not much more work. It's the same work.
Same
just
amount of
different
work,
numbers.
just different numbers.
You know, you're selling Volkswagens, you're selling Cadillacs.
Right. Or in some areas, $1 million house is a Volkswagen. It's just a common house.
Oh, I watch the TV shows. You go to California, my house is twice as much money out there. They go
3 times.
They
as
go
much,
400,000. Look at it. Crap, that's like my house.
Yep.
Then I talk to somebody. They call me with a house up here, but they're living in North or South Carolina,
Yep.
and it's $100,000,
Right.
and it's my house.
Right.
You know, so it's 100 there, 400 over there. In California, it's 4 times the difference. It's absolutely nuts to me.
Totally. All right. So another question. So does that make sense? So
Sure.
so you could a listener could like pick which market he wants to be in, okay? And you could make more than $10,000.
I bet they're going to start with a small one because they're scared
Exactly.
first.
Exactly.
But, you know, I started with I had a $100,000 condo, and I couldn't think of any other deals. I couldn't think of, you know, doing more marketing or doing more work. It's like, I have something I got to think about.
Right.
I have to, you know, it's just like, no, Bill, I got one.
Exactly.
It's like I got a whale on the end of a fishing pole. And then you get used to it, and then you can do 2, 3, 4, whatever, do more, do bigger ones.
Right. Another question I get, can I do this without a license?
Oh, sure.
Why?
Well, the thing is, when you take the option to purchase the property, you're giving a monetary consideration, which means money, giving $10, $20, $100. So you have an equity share in the house.
Right, we
You're,
covered that
you're
earlier.
part owner. I say part owner, so I don't use fancy words on the phone when people ask me. I'm a part owner.
Right. And that's why. And because you're a part owner, you don't need a license.
Mm-hmm. I can sell my own house.
Another common one we get, which you asked earlier. Why would the buyer pay more money than what it's worth?
Right.
Right.
Well, those are the guys that can't get the mortgage.
So it's because you're giving them a long-term lease, right? And there's no pressure to clean up their credit or anything right away to get a bank loan.
Mm-hmm.
So because you're relieving them of the pressure and you're giving them time to fix this problem, they'll pay more.
Right. Because the bottom line is, no matter how much you pay for a house, you're making monthly payments.
Right.
If you can't afford that monthly payment, I don't care what the house costs.
Right.
If you can make it, it almost doesn't matter what the house costs. So people have said to me, how much you want to spend on this? It doesn't really matter as long as I can make the payment.
Right.
Right? $1,200, $1,500, $600.
So let's talk about that for a quick second. So I'm one thing that I haven't talked about in the past, because it's just not come up, is if I were to do this deal that we're talking about between you and John.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't put any terms on the deal. And let's say you got 23 years left on your mortgage.
Okay.
Okay. If John made those payments every single day, every single month on time, and took care of the house and never was a problem with you, would you care?
Only if I needed the big chunk of money at some point.
Well, you're not getting any money because this is a slot deal.
Oh, that's right. There's no cash out. No, you're not gaining and not losing.
So couldn't John actually get a 23-year mortgage and end up paying the house off and never have to cash out?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So isn't that worth paying a little extra for?
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I mean, we don't talk about that because it's not fancy, but it could happen. I mean, as long as you are not obligated. And, oh, yeah, by the way, if you need to go get another mortgage somewhere, if you produce the lease option agreement documents and you put that on the asset section of your balance sheet.
I mean, as the seller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get a loan.
Because the other house is not showing up as a liability to you.
Because you're collecting income. Because you're also going to have income. So, yeah, it's a liability, but you also have income.
Yeah,
especially if the guy's been in there for like 3 years and been making payments.
Mm. Yeah, it's a wash.
Right?
Okay.
So that's how I've gotten people loans before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So wouldn't John pay an extra $10,000 for a house or an extra $20,000 for a house if he had that option?
It's a benefit.
It's a huge benefit.
Yeah. I guess
Right.
that's the bottom line. There's benefits to this that people will pay for.
Right.
They'll give us a better deal on the house if we give some benefits to them to let them out easier, take care of things for them, and the guy coming in, he's getting benefits, so he'll pay a little more.
Right.
And that's the service, is the benefits we give the two sides, huh?
Totally.
Wow.
So another
So
question.
we're in the benefit business.
Yeah, there you go. So another question is why would you let the seller have such? I mean, why would the seller allow such a long term?
Well, if it's a slot deal, I think you just said it. He's not making any money, losing any money.
What's the difference? It's still getting paid.
Yeah.
Whether it gets paid all now or over time, what's the difference? He's not coming out of pocket with the money.
Yeah. He's got no liability.
Oh yeah. By the way,
Yes.
if John pays for 5 years and then leaves,
Oh.
what happened?
That'd be terrible, Bill,
Why?
because your solution left.
Okay. First of all, he can call me again and we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Right? But more importantly, John paid a lease, which means the only benefit he got in his payment was the use of the house.
Yeah, he didn't own it.
There's no principal reduction.
Nope.
So that means now you have the benefit of the principal reduction. And oh yeah, by the way, who got the tax benefit for those years?
You, the owner.
Right? So
Seller's
you got the
still the
tax
owner.
benefit and you got the principal reduction while John was paying the lease.
Yeah, so your mortgage is now lower.
So where's the downside?
He might even be able to sell it conventionally now if he wanted to cash out, or
Exactly.
just do it again.
Or maybe get some equity.
Yeah.
Because now John might have paid down enough money where he might only owe, $89,000, and he could just pay it and walk
Yeah,
away.
and the market could have come back up. All kinds of funny things could happen. But we never count on that.
That's right. So no appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use that word. So where was the downside for the seller? Wasn't.
Downside was sitting there without the house moving,
Right.
and him stuck with it. That's the downside.
Right. And these are all things you do in the presentation. You talk about all these things about why he would do it. Right? These are all perfect conversations, which we're gonna do in February. We're gonna have a whole thing on how to make offers as a conversationalist.
You have a presentation pack just to go over the whole overall sale, right?
Yep.
Would you have one that's just slot deal or just owner financing for each of those? Would you have a presentation pack?
We could, but that'd be a lot of work. I'm not doing that.
Come on, Bill.
No, you couldn't pay me enough money right now to do that. No, Peter.
All right, can I get the students together? We'll work it out?
Sure.
Okay. No, because the way you're explaining it, that'd be fabulous to have that all written down somewhere.
Right.
Like in documents.
Right.
Okay. I'm just curious if you have it sitting around, because knowing you, oh, yeah, I have that. You have things sitting around.
Right.
Okay. Just want to see if you already had one.
Last one that I want to cover is, what if the tenant tears the house up?
He's not a tenant.
Or the person, what if John tears your house up?
Well, if he really does, that's why we might give a couple of $1,000
Right.
up front end. And
Maybe in our deal we're talking a couple thousand, but in the bigger deals you just give them more money. You just give them deposit money, so you share some of your option consideration, non-refundable deposit with the owner when you did the deal.
Yeah.
So that's why you use option non-refundable money when you're selling a house,
Right.
Because you don't spend that money. You use that money to repair the house if something happens.
Right. You keep it aside.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Very little paperwork involved, no risk, and a way to make $10,000 a month if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you right now, the only reason why you're not going to make $10,000 a month is because you're going to have some considerations. You're not going to use the system we talked about in episode number 35, which I think is probably one of the best episodes I think we've ever done, which is the 6 tricks that guarantee your success while in the flipping business.
Yep.
Because I went over the 6 modules that should be in your system. That should be your system.
Yeah, they are the system.
Right? And when you do that, you'll understand how to do things. So there's no fear there. You don't have to have any fear. So most people will not do $10,000 a month on this technique because they won't do their marketing. They won't spend an hour a day. They won't do the time blocking that we spoke about in module number 35. And life will get in the way. Point blank, life will get in the way. I didn't say your wife. I said life. And my life, my wife gets in my way. Yeah. She gets in my way all the time.
So, Bill, what should a person do then? It's an awful big target, starting out to just be able to pull that off every single month. What's a reasonable target?
So just sit down, like I said in episode 35. Just get your realtor to give you expired listings, and just every day at coffee, just write 2 or 3 letters. Say I want to buy your house.
So get one,
and just get one.
And then when you get one, then get 2.
Yeah. And then once you figure out how to do it a couple times, you'll do it more and more and more, and then you'll get up to a point where you can do it every month, and you can quit your job. It really isn't that hard.
Yeah.
What's hard is what you're saying to yourself about it. That's what the hard part is.
Well, when you don't know, it's hard because you don't know.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, well, you can't do what you don't know.
Right.
But I've been following your system, just doing what you said. You send a video, here's how you sell the house on a lease option. I watch the video, I make the signs, I write the things down. I just do what you say, too.
Right.
I must be a dumbass, too, Bill.
There you go. You Pete the dumbass. Well, you can't be my rookie and not be a dumbass.
I'm an education guy.
Yep.
And the one thing I teach people to do is, what does it say? Well, what does this here mean? What does it say? Good, well, do what it says. You don't understand? Well, look it up. Get a dictionary. Look up what lease is. You don't know what an option is? Look it up.
Right.
And do what it says.
Exactly.
And then decide if you like it or not. But just do it.
Exactly.
The people who wrote the book are professionals. What are you?
Yep.
Do it.
Yep.
Yay. Be a dumbass.
Yay for the dumbasses.
Well, you're not. I don't think that's exactly the right word for it, but I know what you're saying because I've seen people just immediately change the system. Well, I thought I would do this instead. Well, what are you thinking for? Why
Especially
don't you
me. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars learning this stuff. So why would you not at least try what I'm telling you? Because I'm breaking it all down to the simplicities.
Yeah.
So just do it. So anyways, I wanted to say $10,000 a month technique is probably the first place that everybody should start.
Yeah.
Should do a couple slot deals. You were able to do a renovation because I was there and helping you, but rehab and retail is not the first place to start unless you have money people giving you money, and you have some experience with realtors. in MLS, and you have some experience with running contractors.
Yep.
There's a lot of pieces and parts moving there, and it is the hardest way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're in an area like I was talking about Marco and those guys out there in Sydney that have $1 million. I mean, he said his house, I think it was $800,000 or $750,000, something like that. Those are perfect places to do slot deals. Perfect places because you get more of a deposit, so it's not hard to make 20, 30 grand, 50 grand on one deal.
And you don't have to do one of those every single month to be successful. No. Just do one, then do two.
That's right. Well, you know, and just get your way out of whatever position you're in, so you can build up a little kitty and just go.
Yeah, think of this. This is what I was trying to do. I had one in my hometown. The guy got chicken feed and had no money to hold the property at all, and nothing. So he got chickened out, went to renting it. But while I was doing it, I was thinking, let me just quickly find a few more in town. Because if I had 3 in the same town, somebody doesn't like this one, well, I got 2 more in town. Because they asked, you got anything else?
Right.
So if you get one, then quickly find a few more because it'd be easier to sell.
I'm going to drop a bomb at the end of the show because, once again, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. But I'm going to drop a bomb in the show, and maybe we'll do a whole show on this. But the interesting thing is when you have, well, I told you earlier, when you're, or in episode 35, I told you when you're selling a house, you advertise it, you'll get 70 or 80 people go through the house, or 100 people go through the house. 30 or 40, I'm sorry, you'll have 70 or 80, you'll have 80 or 100 people call you, you'll have 30 or 40 people walk through the house. Mm-hmm. What you got to do is you got to get those people to get on your VIP list. And the reason why they would get on your VIP list is you tell them that when we get a house, before we go to market with it, we let you know first. So you're in the know on all of our houses when we first get them.
Yeah.
At one point, I had a VIP list that it was almost 30% of the houses we were selling. We never spent any money on marketing. We just sent an email out. People would go look at the house. 3 or 4 days later, I had a couple offers.
Yeah, because at any one time, there's a pile of people looking for houses in your town.
Right.
We just had a bunch of people come through our house in 1 week, and the realtor said, I think those people are going to house to house to house. You know, every house comes on the market, those same 13, 15, 25 people, boom, they're in the house.
Right.
Take advantage of it.
If you accumulate a VIP list and you can sell one of these slot deals, so if once you get going, you could do $10,000 a month because you'll have a VIP list and you'll be able to market to people that are already looking for houses.
Yeah, it's easy to get the deal if somebody's in this situation. It's not hard. You meet with them, you talk to them, you sign a few pieces of paper, you're done.
Right.
The longer process is getting the buyers. But if you had the buyer list
and
you have another couple of houses in town, you can have a little business going.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing this spring.
Good.
And the ground thaws.
Doing the ground thaws. All right, Peter. We are over and out. I will see you next week.
I'll be here, Bill.
Perfect.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.